Welcome back to Gold Tone, a podcast with Seth Gold right here on Play.it. I'm your host, Dan Leach from CBS Radio, here with both Les and Seth Gold. And Seth, I know we got someone very special, you and your father, coming up next year.
Yeah, so Dan, do you remember a few podcasts ago we spoke about how Les and I attended the Arnold Classic?
Oh, I remember.
Classic
I was a little jealous that I wasn't invited.
Well, it was all great, except I had to be in Columbus, Ohio.
Yes, and that makes you feel like a dirty person if you're a Michigan Wolverine fan.
But all kidding aside,
great city, though. Great city.
It was a good time, and I had a chance to meet some really great people. And one person that stuck out in my mind was a gentleman I met just by happen chance. We're sitting at a booth, and Nick Scott just made his presence known. My dad and I were staying there. He says that he's a huge fan of the show. We got to know him, and in the previous segment, we talked a little bit about overcoming obstacles. So I would like to introduce a close family friend, Mr. Nick Scott. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, it's an honor. Glad to be here.
Nick, you got a pretty incredible story. Why don't we you start at the top, man, and let everyone know how you've made a journey, for a pretty incredible journey that I have a lot of respect for.
Yeah, it's been a long journey. Back in '98, I was 16 years old. I was in a car accident. My left front tire blew out. I rolled my vehicle 5.5 times, and I was ejected out the driver's side window. My own car hit me in the back. It broke my back and damaged my spine, and the doctors diagnosed me as paraplegic, and they said I would never walk again. I got severely depressed, borderline suicidal, and then my weight went up to 300 pounds. And I realized one thing, going through all the depression, is what's the one thing you gain from losing everything? It's a perspective. Because then all of a sudden my perspective changed, because it wasn't about if my glass was empty or half full. I was just grateful that I had a glass. So I started changing my life, and going back to high school, I realized I didn't have nothing. So I eventually saw the boyfriend, girlfriends walking with their hands, fingers on a clock. I couldn't do that stuff anymore. So I thought going to the gym would save me. But then I saw squats, power cleans, and all these things, and I realized I couldn't do that stuff. But one thing it could be was bench press. So that was my outlet. If I couldn't do anything, the one thing I could be is stronger than everybody. So starting that, I was wearing a chest brace, and eventually going from the doctor's limiting 5 pounds to benching 350 pounds at a weight meet.
Wow. What was that like for you the second you heard from the doctors you were paraplegic? Because I can't even, I sadly have known some people that have gone through that. And obviously you've come such a far way, but what was that moment like? I know you mentioned you got in a lot of depression, but do you remember what it felt like to hear that?
Yeah, I just got out of surgery, and the doctor came in. He just bluntly told me that my football days were over and I would never walk again. My mom was by my side, and she was furious how it told me, but I just instantly broke down, and I was devastated. Because just put yourself in my shoes at 16 years old. Here you're thinking you're going to be a big football star and all this stuff, and your life is over.
What was the point that drove you to become a lifter? You know, I know you said that you were depressed, but there had to be a changing point in your life, even as a young guy. What changed you?
It was just my thought process, because going back to rehab with the doctors, I knew that they were there to help me to get better, and I wanted to get better. It was a choice. So thinking about all this stuff, what I could do, I really realized that there wasn't a lot, because trying to transfer, being in the wheelchair and limited on movement, it really sucked. So the one thing I could do is just lay on a bench and push a bar off my chest. And if that's the only thing I could do, I'd be really good at it. So I started studying how to be the best at that, and I dominated my school records and all this stuff in powerlifting meets.
So let's talk about the first competition that you entered in 2006. Talk to me a little bit about how bodybuilding or wheelchair bodybuilding competition has grown since then.
What it was is like I did powerlifting competitions for 2 years. I got 39 first place, 2 seconds, 1/3. I'm a 2-time world powerlifting champion. Then I went and get my bachelor's in business administration, and then I had the urge to compete again. So I Googled if they had wheelchair bodybuilding or bodybuilding for people in wheelchairs in the fall of 2005. It took me forever to find something, but eventually saw a show in West Palm Beach, Florida in March. So I'm like, hey, I'll just do it. So I Googled how to train to be a bodybuilder. I started training, and I just flew down there and I competed, and I lost. I got second, and I was mad. I was furious. I wanted to hit the dude with the trophy. But that night, just seeing the guys just struggling and all this challenges, I was so amazed and inspired. I told the guys, like, this is amazing. We need to let the world know about it. But I was laughed at because this is my first show. So I was like, whatever. So I went home and I Googled how to build a website. I taught myself how to build a website. I Googled how to do video editing and all that stuff because I didn't have no money.
Right.
So the poor man's way is just learn it yourself and do it yourself.
Right.
And that's what I did. So I trained people as a trainer, and then I started competing guest posts all over the country. And I got picked up in 2008 after doing about 50 shows around the country by bodybuilding.com. So that was the gist of just getting the exposure out there.
So let me tell you, Dan, and Les can probably attest to this, while we were at the Arnold Classic, I cannot talk or think about someone more well-respected than Nick. You want to talk about a guy that knows everybody, knows how to make things happen. This guy moves so fast on the floor. We wanted to meet some people, and Nick's like, "Oh yeah, I know him, no problem." So, well, I saw you get out of that chair. What's that progress looking like right now?
Well, it took me about 5.5 years of doing rehab and doing extensive rehab of learning how to use the muscles I have in my legs because my quads started to come back, but I can't feel nothing from the knees down. I popped up my toenails, so I know I can't feel my feet. People say that, but it's just a weird sensation. It's basically like put your arm under a pillow and drag your fingers on top of the pillow. You just know something's there, but you don't really know where's it at.
Right.
So that's how my feet feel. It's a weird sensation, but I got to the point where I can get up and take short steps.
It's got to make you feel amazing. When someone tells you, and like I said, I've known people in my life that have been told they'll never walk again, and most of them are walking in some way, shape, or form. It's got to make you feel unbelievable.
Yeah, it does. And over the time, I realized that it wasn't about me because going through this process, it really opened the eyes to other people that if I can do it, they can do it too.
We were talking to the very inspirational Nick Scott, and there are people that are listening right now, I'm sure, that are going through a lot of what you went through, and hopefully not many of them had to go through a similar situation, not being able to walk. But those people that are listening right now that are depressed, that maybe don't have much, they think they don't have much to live for, what do you think the key for them is to try to lift them up right now as they're listening, and maybe we can help change their life?
The key is really just to figure out something that you love doing it and just be the best at it. If you're a mechanic, regardless if you're in a chair or not, if you love doing that, just educate yourself and become the best mechanic you can. Because if your car breaks down, you want to make sure you take it to the person that's the best at that. And just same thing, say like a pawn shop. It's just like Les and Seth. There's other pawn shops, but you want to go to where they know the best.
Theirs is the best. We know that.
Clearly.
Gold tone.
Well, all I know is when we were in Columbus, Nick, you impressed me so much. I'm a little bit older than you, but I looked at your physique, and I know how many hours you spend in the gym. And I looked at your tries and buys and your chest and your lats. They were just popping out of your shirt. I was so impressed with that, and your devotion and your energy was just amazing. Just amazing to me. And the way you moved everybody out of the way, we got to see people that nobody could see because of you.
That was just over the years of me trying to get the sport of wheelchair bodybuilding around the world. I networked with all these companies, and they knew who I was. And do you remember, you guys, when you asked me, do you think you can get me to Hulk Hogan?
I still have that picture with all of us.
Tell the viewers about that experience.
We have in a previous podcast. We did talk about childhood idols and
Hogan was
them.
a hero of mine and Seth's, for sure. Nick, I read a great quote of yours. You said, "Don't expect everyone to understand your journey if they've never had to walk your path." I think a lot of people, there's so much misunderstanding, unfortunately, that goes on in this world. And did you ever kind of experience people misunderstanding your situation and ways that maybe people that are listening right now can kind of get past that if people are misunderstanding what they're going through?
Yeah, so many people are quick to judge people. The reality of it, you just got to be the best that you can be and enhance your skills and your ability. And in the gist of all that, you'll shine your own light. Just like when I came to Seth and Les, I knew who they were, and I'm fans of the show, but I'm not starstruck by anybody. Everybody, to me, we're all God's children.
Yeah.
We're all designed equal. Regardless if I'm performing in front of the Pope on Saturday, I don't consider myself any greater or any less than anybody.
This is gonna. Oh, go ahead, Nick. I just want to ask you about the Pope thing, which is incredible.
I'm involved in all sorts of stuff.
Because this is going to air a little bit after you meet with the Pope. First off, are you nervous? Because I mean, this is the Holy Father, man. I mean, I'm Jewish, doesn't matter. I know how important of an event that is. What are you feeling about that right now?
It's an honor, but I'm not nervous.
You're not nervous at all?
How many people are going to be there? Isn't there like over 1 million people?
Yeah, there's going to be multiples of millions of people. The governor already declared a state of emergency. They're shutting down most bridges, most roads.
Yep.
At a certain time, the trains only go out the city. They don't go in the city. On Saturday, we have to meet a specific location to be escorted into the city to the location by the Secret Service.
There's an undisclosed location where we're all going to have to meet.
It sounds like The Dark Knight Rises.
So let's talk a little bit about that. So the listeners don't know what you're going to be doing for the Pope, so get into that a little bit.
It's a surprise.
I may be the best of wheelchair bodybuilding in the world, but me and my dance partner, she's not in the wheelchair. I'm in the wheelchair, but we're the number one couple in America.
Wow.
We perform for Arnold. We represent the United States at the Paralympics. We performed for fundraisers for Dancing with the Stars. We've done it all.
So explain to me how you create 25 hours in a day rather than 24, because it seems to me that you're so busy doing what you're doing. How often are you in the gym, and how often are you training or practicing your dance moves?
I just got back from the gym before we got on here.
You live in the gym, don't you?
No, actually, now it's just train about an hour a day for 6 days a week.
And
I just go in and I hit it and I get out.
What does that look like for you? You'll go in, you'll do just one body part a day, or how does that, like cardio, like give my listeners some tips.
It's very simple. I break it down to basically one body part a day. I'll be like back on Monday, chest on Tuesday, legs on Wednesday, shoulders on Thursday, arms on Friday, and legs on Saturday. And for the bigger body parts, I train more. For the smaller, I work less. Give you an example. My back is bigger, so I'll hit 18 sets. So I'll do like one exercise for 12 reps, then a rest, do it again, and I just mix up different exercises. When I hit 18 to 20 sets, I'm done. For chest, 16 sets. Shoulders, 14 sets. Biceps, about 14 sets. Triceps, 14 sets. It's very simple. But the key is I aim for 12 reps. Go as heavy as I possibly can because you got to push your body beyond, and that's really the secret.
Nick, for what you've gone through, I'm an idiot saying that I have a hard time getting motivated, but I'm trying to get back in shape. What can you say to me to keep me going? And like I said, your story itself should be motivation enough. But for me, I get going and then I stop when it comes to going to the gym. Any special tips for me, for an ADD guy that needs to get in shape?
It's all about your motivation. Because if you're just going to say, like, I'm just going to go to the gym to get in shape, you're not going to do it. If I tell you, well, you need to get ready for a show in 14 weeks and you're going to be in front of 700 people in a small Speedo, that's a little bit more different.
I'm in. I can do that, Nick.
Nick, you would not want to see Dan in a Speedo.
Well, not when I'm in better shape, you might.
Good luck.
That's the
Nick,
key.
you'll never want to see Dan in a Speedo.
Nick, we want to thank you so much for joining us. And listen, you are such an inspirational figure. I know you're all over social media, all over the internet. Where can everyone learn more about you and get in touch with you and stay in touch with you?
Yeah, my website for a speaker is speakernickscott.com. And if you want to see athletes from wheelchair bodybuilding all over the world, it's just wheelchairbodybuilding.com.
So let me ask you, I follow you on social media and you post a bunch of pictures of like your meals for the day. Is that all you're eating during the day?
Yeah, I mainly eat 6 meals.
Got it.
I get them shipped from iconmeals.com. They do an amazing job to just ship them wherever I'm at, and it's already pre-cooked. So it's chicken. I basically eat steak and chicken. Right now I'm eating 8 ounces after it's cooked, either chicken or steak, and then I have about a half a cup of rice. That's it.
Easy enough. What about a cheat day? Do you have one of those?
It's just rarely, and if it depends, I'll just have a cheeseburger or whatnot because I'm not getting ready for shows.
That caught Dan's attention.
Yeah, see, Nick, my everyday is the cheeseburger, so I got to have a cheat day to eat like the rice and the beans and the healthy stuff.
It's just making a habit of it because it's like, what's your motivation?
Yeah.
If you're going to be on stage in a Speedo, you're going to switch your diet because you don't want to look a certain way in your Speedo up on stage in front of thousands of people.
Don't want to look like an idiot, that's for sure. Nick, we want to thank you so much for joining us. Nothing but continued success. And listen, what an honor to perform for the Pope. I know you're going to do a great job, so look forward to that as well, my friend.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Dan, Seth, Les, thank you again. It's truly an honor.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Nick.
Nick.